Welcome to my podcast. Hello to everybody. Today I want to do a new section on my playlists, and if you look at the top of the page, you'll see there's lots of playlists, different podcasts, and in different sections. I want to start a section on pain, just because everyone has it, and I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about it energetically. And there are all different sorts of pains. We can have physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, psychological pain, astral pain, past life pain, and genetic pain. They're just some of them I want to talk about. And today I thought I'd talk about genetic pain because everyone seems to be really interested in that lately, and I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about it. The genetic pain is what we have either picked up from our parents or from living with them, and or the genetic pain that we've come in with, that we've come in through the line. So when we were born, in our DNA, we kind of picked up some genetic pain, just like we would have like blue eyes, or we would have our dad's creativity or mum's musical ability. We can actually pick up pain, I believe, and bring it through. When you're doing a lot of work on yourself, you'll sometimes get stumped because you're like doing all this work and tapping and releasing the pain, and it's still there. And I want you to just, if you've done many of the other things, the ones we talked about at the beginning, I want you to have a look at genetic pain that you might have brought in with you. I feel the genetic pain can also be absorbed, or like a sponge. You can pick it up when you're young. So the pain of your mum or your dad or your brothers and sisters, even anyone in your family, grandma, grandpa, you can pick that pain up and actually bring it into your aura without even knowing it, because as little children we're just like sponges. We can also pick up the genetic pain of other people when we're with them. And I want you to know that, in my opinion, there's like two parts. There's probably more, but today all I'm getting to talk about is two parts. To get rid of it, first, it's acknowledgement that you have picked up genetic pain, and you can do some work on releasing it. I always go like to my father's side of the family, and then I go back to that one, and my mother's side, and I go back. Now, if you've been adopted or you don't know who your birth mother or birth father, even though he wasn't really doing it, was he? You can just go to that person and go to them for the genetic pain that you would have picked up. Genetically, what happens is it comes through the DNA, and I reckon that's why we'll end up with dad's arthritis and mum's migraine and auntie's eczema, because genetically we're like predisposed, like we already have some of that pain and our body recognises it. So when we're vulnerable, maybe it just goes to those places. And I think the genetic pain is often something that we can't feel or know on a maybe spiritual level, but humanly we do know it, because, you know, your son will be telling you he's having trouble with his left toe, he's probably going to get a bunion or something, and then someone in his family has got that. In my family I've had that. Or sometimes psoriasis comes through that way. For example, in my family grouping, one of the grandfathers had psoriasis, so it skipped the son, but it's gone into the grandson. This genetic pain is what I'm talking about today. So you can get these ailments, and they mostly do have some pain in them. But I want you to just look at the pain today. When you do your release work, your tapping, using your pendulum, doing your healing on yourself, you have to have that mindset that you're releasing the genetic pain that you've come in with through your DNA, and also on a soul level, I believe. And then you release it from your mum's side, their dad's side. If you know what the things are, that's even better. Like if your mum had the migraine, release the pain, migraine pain. If your dad had some other thing like eczema, dermatitis, because that's painful. Most of the things that we have are painful. They just vary in how much pain they have. And I feel we can release these, and then we're not going to be so vulnerable to them. I use my pendulum, then I do my tapping. I've got two ways of doing it. In the new year, I'm going to show you the new way of doing the tapping. I just have to get organised with my camera. And then I also do it for meditation. I do a hypnosis, go down and try and release it that way. So use the ones that work for you. It's the most important thing. It's about the intention. If you intend to let it go, you can actually release it because it's an energy, because we're just a big energy body, aren't we, just vibrating away here. And when we were born, we were vibrating and brought in those genetic tendencies and vulnerabilities and the pain. You might have to go back and do it several times, I feel, because I feel there's layers of genetic pain. I don't think you can't just do it once, because there's layers, because it's been coming through all those generations. Picking it up, maybe not just from your dad, but maybe your father's mother and then the mother's auntie. It can go back, 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 back. The genetics are important for us. We do get good things from them, and then we get things that are going to be quite challenging, which are the illnesses, I think, and the behaviours and propensity to get certain things. So if you've got bipolar in your family or depression, that's something you can also work on, because even though it's not actually a pain, it creates pain in your life, especially emotional or mental pain. It's a way to release and let go, and also to break the pattern. And that's what the most important thing is, that it's not just for you. But if you manage to release, for example, the migraine that you've picked up from your mum, then possibly for you, your migraines might stop happening as much. But more importantly, that if you are now going to bear children and have children, then you are not going to pass on that genetic code, because you've broken it in you, and so you've lessened it. We are our genes. We really are. And as much as we like to think we're our own person and we've got our own soul, there's a lot of truth in that. However, once we become human, we become our genes. And that's the thing you've got to be aware of, because we're just a human body as well, living down here vibrating at all different rates. And if we have these genes that we've come in with, then we're going to have to deal with them and or get those illnesses. This is why things are passed down in families, I believe. And I think it's like an imprint in the aura when you come in. And it's about you trying to release that, because it's all energy, right? Because before we came, when we were in the Garden of Remembrance, setting up with our guides what we're going to do this life, who we're going to meet, what we're going to do with our lessons, we were in an energy body. And when we came in here, we brought that soul energy body and put it into our physical human body, which we chose to be, whether we're going to be tall or short or blue eyes or red hair, because we can choose those things as well before we come. And then we decide that once we're in this, then we've got to also help the human body, because it's vibrating at a lower rate. That's why we can see it. But our aura actually expands out maybe a metre for most people. People who are very charismatic and come to bring the light, their aura will often be much, much bigger. And actually, sometimes if you see those people, when you look at them, their aura is like they're standing there, but then the light is just going out and you can't see the end to the light. Just huge. Do some work on it. Write down what is on your father's side, your mother's side. Write down the pains that you have, and then see if you can release them. I feel we can let things go. You can go to some healers who do this work too. However, if you're not in tune to release it, you won't do it. If you want to hold on to it, you can hold on to it. So you're your best healer. And the other thing is, if you've karmically decided that when you came down you wanted to know what it was like to, I don't know, have arthritis or have eczema or something, if that's in your patterning, you'll actually go through it. But I still believe that once you burn the karma, then you can decide that you've learned the lesson and now you can just let it go. It's really interesting. I'd like to hear from anyone who does this, and then any results they get in the next few weeks or months, because it'll take a while for the energy to download. Pain is pain, but it's also energy. And if you remember that pain is actually energy, and it's an energy that isn't working well in the body usually, because when you don't have pain, the energy is running really well in that part of the body. As soon as you get pain, the energy is not running right, just like the acupuncture people say. So if we can release it and get rid of it, then energetically the body can heal. And you can also ask for that you be healed from all genetic pain. Release and heal. I would do quite a lot of prayer with this one, because you've got your guides with you, and then ask them to help you how to do it. You'll always get little messages or Sometimes people just say some things to you, it's so cute. I'll just say this and that to you, and you're like, oh, thanks for that. So then I think you need to start looking at some of those things that you can do to change how we are, and in this new vibration. And next year will be even another higher vibration on some level. It's a good time to do the release work. And a life with less pain is a better life, isn't it? And you can even work on the genetic, physical, emotional, mental, psychological, and astral pain. You can work on those as well genetically, because your mother might have had them, or your father might have had them, as well as all the stuff that you have picked up as a sponge, and now it is from your parents or your family, but you're carrying it. So you can carry it, as I said earlier, in two ways: coming in with it, but also picking it up, carrying it. I hope you have a happy week. A new year coming. I hope next year is going to be a good year for us. It might be difficult. There might be strife around the world, but just keep focused on what you're doing and sending the light. And as I've said before, don't forget to light the candles whenever you feel right. I always feel it's on the 11th and the 22nd, but I will just light the candles to light the world. So I'm sending you lots of love and lots of light.